Hello, this is Vampire. For today's video, I want to share some factoids with you guys with the classic film starring Bruce Lee, Enter the Dragon. I'm getting my source from the Japanese website of Wikipedia, and I just checked with the US version, and it's not the same. The things that I'm about to read to you guys is not in the American Wikipedia version, so I'm hoping you guys are going to find this stuff interesting. Hopefully you haven't heard this stuff before. Okay, let's start off with the really famous scene where Bruce Lee is teaching the kid and he's like, don't think, feel. It is like a finger pointing to the moon. Don't look at the finger or you will miss all that heavenly glory. Okay, that's super famous scene. That scene Bruce Lee had shot. It wasn't in the original script. He just wanted to do that and to put that in. And I guess they had no problem because the film Enter the Dragon was a collaboration effort from the Chinese movie producers and directors combined with the US, the American, with Warner Brothers. So it was a collaboration effort, and I guess they had no problem doing it differently. So the release in China could be a little bit different from the release in the US. And anyway, Robert Klaus, the American director, saw that scene and he liked it so much that he decided to include it for the US release as well. The next part really surprised me, but when I think about it, it makes a whole lot of sense. Roper, who is played by John Saxon, in the original script, he was actually the #1 fighter. And Roper was supposed to have the fight at the very end against the main villain, Han, the guy with the one arm, the bladed arm, the bladed hand, should I say. Anyway, obviously that got changed during the filming, but you can still see traces of the original plot, like when Han is asking Roper to join his organization. If you think about it, why isn't he asking Bruce Lee? Instead, he's asking Roper. That's because in the original script, Roper was the #1 fighter, like I said. And also, when Bruce Lee is held captive, Han tries to get Roper to kill Bruce Lee. Once again, he must have felt pretty confident that Roper, who in the original script was the #1 fighter, would be able to destroy Bruce Lee no problem. Obviously, in the actual film, Bruce Lee is shown as the superior fighter than Roper, or pretty much anyone and everyone else. And Roper, when he backs down from fighting Bruce Lee in the film, he looks kind of like a wimp, but in my opinion, he gets to make up for it by defeating Bolo. In the original story, it was Bruce Lee who was supposed to fight Bolo, which, wasn't that cool. I think a lot of people wanted to see that, and that was in the original script. And then after Bruce Lee defeats Bolo, an angry Han is supposed to fight with Roper. But look, story-wise, this actually makes sense because Bruce Lee already got his revenge when he defeats O'Hara, right? The guy that basically attacks his sister in the story. And so essentially, Bruce Lee's story is done at that point. And Roper, on the other hand, he needs to fight Han to get revenge for Williams. Williams, of course, being played by Jim Kelly. Oh, yeah. And anyway, when they changed all this, they added the plot that Han had betrayed the Shaolin Temple so that it would kind of make sense that Bruce Lee would get to settle things at the end with Han in the final fight. And that's where he's like, you have offended my family and you have offended the Shaolin Temple, so that's where that comes in. So story-wise, it kind of doesn't flow as well because of the changes made. Even though Bruce Lee is shown as the #1 fighter, you can see throughout the film that Han is focusing his attention towards Roper. Alright? If Bruce Lee was the #1 fighter, you would think that Han would be focusing on Bruce Lee. There is that scene where, you know, Han says, you're like this machine when Bruce Lee gets captured